Once again, we have our CPCA Vice President, Greg Buchanan, here today to talk to us about last weekend's races at Meadow Lake, alongside the races that will be coming up this weekend at North Battleford. And so thank you so much for being with me today, Greg.
Thanks for having me, Thomas.
All right, Greg, so let's first talk about Meadow Lake. The top drivers, Devin Mitswing was the winner of the aggregate. Then we also have Dallas Dick and Danny Ringette were in that Dash for Cash to finish off. So tell me a little bit about those top drivers and all the races that were happening at Meadow Lake.
It shouldn't be a big surprise because Devin Mitswing is a former Canadian champion, comes from a legacy family in the Mitswings. His dad won 7 Canadian championships. Brother Dale won a championship, so 9 Canadian championships in that family alone. So Devin Mitswing back in the fold, and he looks strong. Like he's a great driver, has great barn depth. And look for Devin Mitswing. And probably last week when we talked about drivers that could be in contention, maybe we overlooked Devin. Devin's going to be in contention every weekend. Dallas Dick had a nice start, and Danny Ringette's one of those drivers that he has made those strides in the last number of years. This is year number 10 for him as a driver in the CPCA. So after, some feeling out process in the first few years, Danny's finding his own. And I think he's a guy that's running with a lot of confidence. And also Danny won the Dash after that too. So Danny's coming off a Dash win, and look for him to kind of build on that this week in North Battleford.
And then looking at some of those drivers that were knocking on the door for the final Dash for Cash and in those top spots in the CPCA standings right now, Ori Wood is actually tied with Danny Ringette. He's a rookie driver. There's also Logan Gorst, Todd Baptiste, and Ryan Baptiste, and Luke Tournier, who are all in those final few spots just below the top 4. And so tell me a little bit about those drivers and how well they did at Meadow Lake and looking to be better at North Battleford.
Well, I think more than anything, when you mention all those names, the one name that kind of stands out for me, it's a new name in Ori Wood. Here's a rookie driver, first time ever in the wagon box on Friday night, and he cracks the top 5, which is amazing. If you're a rookie driver, you're just hoping that you don't have a whole lot of penalties at the end of the race. You got a lot of butterflies, got a lot of nerves in that first night. And he seemed to gain confidence as he went along. A lot of times they tell the rookie drivers, don't worry about speed, try to stay clean. And he did both of that. And, many times, just like any other sport, hockey, baseball, football, whatever it be, when you're first going into that sport, everything seems to be moving a mile a minute. And it actually isn't, but in your mind it is. And then for Ori Wood, he's dialed it in already, and things are already slowing down for him, which many times you don't see that until, a year or maybe 2 years into your career, where things seem to slow down. And so Ori Wood is a guy that's going to just get better as he goes along here.
And so let's talk about North Battleford and just a little bit about the track conditions, as well as some of the local drivers who may be looking to make a big impact at North Battleford.
Yeah, I don't know if home cooking really helps a whole lot, but it makes you feel comfortable around your settings. It's a track that is very good. It's well maintained, but it hasn't been used for the last number of years. So bit of a challenge, probably, that getting it ready for that Friday night or Thursday and Friday, and making sure that it's strong throughout the week. And typically on a track like that, you may see times be a little bit slower the first night, a little quicker on Friday, and then even faster on Saturday and Sunday, because that track's going to get pounded down. And when that track gets pounded down and gets into the condition that you need for racing, that's when you see fast times. But if you think of North Battleford and think of locals there, Todd and Ryan Baptiste, they call them the Can-Do kids. So Can-Do's just down the road from there. Also Amber LaRue, for more than anything, that's likely her closest to her hometown show. So Amber LaRue coming home of sorts there. And Amber LaRue, I think North Battleford always means something special to her, because a number of years ago when she made her first ever trip as a female driver in the CPCA, it was in North Battleford, and it came with a lot of press and fanfare, and there was media from the CBC, Global, CTV, all covering that race that night. So, so it's a different feeling for Amber LaRue when she rolls into that track compared to other tracks.
All right, Greg, you mentioned Amber LaRue. She's the only CPCA female driver. Tell me a little bit about her impressive results, especially at Meadow Lake this past weekend, and just how good of a driver she's been throughout her time in the CPCA.
Amber's a great horseman. Amber knows her way around the horses and knows how to handle the horses. And she's been around horses all her life. She's been around wagons all her life. And, whether it be the big wagons or the pony chariots, her dad was a big driver back in the day. And she lost him a few years ago. And that means something very special to Amber to be racing in the memory of her dad. So I think for Amber, she faces this, and more than anything, what people have to realize, yeah, Amber LaRue is a female, but Amber LaRue, first of all, is a wagon driver. And just happened to be, she wears a different pair of jeans than other drivers, So it's like, yeah. So what? Don't hold anything against Amber for being a female. She is shown her own that she belongs with everybody else, and she's just like anybody else. And she had a good start to Meadow Lake. She really came out of the infield on fire. Like, she barreled very well, and that's one thing you're going to see as you get more and more comfortable in the wagon box, more comfortable with your outfits, that you're going to barrel well. And if you come out of the infield with the lead on a short track like North Battleford, like a short track last weekend in Meadow Lake, good chance you're going to win that heat.
Thank you so much for all the information, Greg, and we will definitely be talking to you soon about more CPCA action.
Thanks a lot, Thomas.